Sure, yes. All right. I think we are recording. Hey, sis.
Hey, sis.
So, wanted to bring it back because we got a lot of positive feedback from our last video that we did.
Hmm.
So, clearly, we should do them more often. And
Okay.
I have my tea. Do you have your tea?
I don't. You didn't tell me. I just drank tea though.
Oh, I'm almost done. It's like halfway, pretty much.
I literally drank tea before I came on here, so you
What
should tell
did
me.
you drink?
I think it was ginger and lemon.
Oh, I have chai tea, vanilla chai.
I think I do have chai tea also.
Yeah, this is kind of like I don't know. Anyway, I like it this time of year. So Thanksgiving is coming up
It is.
in 2 days, something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna miss you, by the way.
I miss you too
How
already.
how's her hair just laid
Yes, girl. It's so
yesterday?
poofy already though.
You can't tell,
Okay.
honestly. So a lot of folks, I'm a coach and I would say questions, I guess, or concerns rather, leading up into the Thanksgiving or just holiday season and this year might be different because we really shouldn't be like doing big gatherings, but
Right.
people are doing their own thing. And so some of this might be relevant this year and some of it may not just because of the nature of having to shelter in place more. But
Right.
we probably can still go through some of these different things because it doesn't mean that people aren't gathering. The gathering might be smaller because I was at the grocery store the other day actually, and the baking aisle was packed. And I was super annoyed because I thought I was the only one that was trying to go into the baking aisle, but everybody else was there too.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of different topics that kind of come up during this time of year, and just so we'll go through each one and we'll just kind of have some fun. So the first one is and these are like in reference to like being nervous about the holidays and staying on track, or continuing to practice healthy habits. And one thing I just wanted to kind of just start the conversation with, because I have my own weight loss journey and you have yours as well. And you look fabulous, by the way.
Yes, thank you.
Um,
As do you.
Thank you. One thing growing up, well, not growing up, but once I started my weight loss journey, started to lose weight, um, I always had a little bit of anxiety, trying to find the balance. You want to, stay on track. You don't want to overdo it, obviously, but you want to enjoy some of your favorite yearly foods that you don't have all the time.
Right.
And then you have people that just, especially when you're around family, they say things that they don't realize what they're saying. So
Mhm.
sometimes it's like, and it's not even directed at you, like, oh, I know you're on a diet,
Or you're not gonna eat that.
or
Angie
you're not
won't eat that.
right. Yeah, just
Mhm.
stuff or whatever. And so, for those of you that are family members and you're listening to this, just know that people that are truly working on being a better version of themselves already feel nervous. So
Mhm.
try to be compassionate and kind and thoughtful, and
Mhm.
try to speak before just try to think before you're speaking. And just, I know we're not perfect. Sometimes you're just going to say things and you don't even realize what you're saying. And then for those of you that are on a journey, just brush it off your shoulder. I have a couple of things that I have learned to say over time, and over time I just ignore it and be like, whatever, and I try to educate people in a
Right.
nice way for those who want to hear about it. So the first one is stay calm. It's just Thanksgiving, and breathe. It's just one day. Um, so I just try to think about, it's one day. I may not be making, and I try to be mindful of the words I'm using because I don't really think that there's good food or bad food. Food is food. It's just there are certain foods that I eat in moderation, and I enjoy those things in moderation. And Thanksgiving and the holiday season and the winter in general is a time of year where we eat a lot more quote unquote comfort foods. And that is just a part of our genetics and our DNA because that when I guess when we were cavemen or whatever, it was cold, we didn't have that many clothes, and we needed to we needed to,
Not
have
sure where this is going.
we
This
had
history
more
lesson.
we had to pack on a little bit more fat just to make our bodies warmer, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
now I don't even know what this is, but I guess it's fleece. I'm warm. I feel cozy. We have heating. We don't need to pack on that like that.
Right.
So, but it's just a part of our nature, just to be aware of like, oh, I tend to crave these kind of foods more often during this time of year. So just stay cool and calm and collected. You gonna say hi or what?
Hey, Nay.
Speaking of gummy bears.
Awesome gummy
All right, I'll get you some later. Go with your daddy. Bye. All right, you gonna be in here or what? All right, go with your daddy. Okay, so what do you have to say? Stay calm, breathe.
I do agree with you, what you're saying. Like, as humans or in our culture, we do a lot of celebrating around food, and that's just part of our culture. And all cultures seem to be that way. But trying, for me personally, just trying to focus more. It doesn't have to be just about the food for me this year, and trying to focus more on the people and being grateful, or what the celebration represents, and not be so focused on food. And just, I know it's going to be, we're like, my husband and I are planning our own small Thanksgiving, and we're staying home. But, we are thinking of like all the great things we want to cook, but it doesn't have to be only about the food. And so if I kind of approach it more as celebrating with my husband, being away from work, or whatever the celebration is for you, and not just solely focusing on the food, and
Yeah,
focus more on the people.
absolutely. Shift your perspective.
Yeah.
I love that. The second one is, and this is probably a peeve of mine. They're called food pushers,
Hmm.
and I have a specific example of this. So we were
Yeah, you'll have to tell me what that is. I'm not sure.
a food pusher is someone that pushes food on you. So
Oh, well, I'm back at work, and that's every day, all day. So everything's about food. I think my first day back, somebody had brought this giant cookie for me to thank me for something, I guess, I don't know. And it was so amazing. But it was just like, gosh, I just got here, and already, I'm trying to stay focused, and somebody's bringing me food. Or like a couple days later, they want to buy you lunch.
yeah.
And so there is a lot of that. And then because of the journey that I'm on, I plan around what I'm going to eat and
Mhm.
when I'm eating. So when you just show up and tell me, "Oh, we're buying you lunch," like that might be sound like a great thing, but to me, I'm like, "Oh man, I brought my lunch. I already know how many calories is in there." And now so I just like I take it, and then I think I saved it for the next day where I could plan better for it, because I wanted my lunch. Like, you don't, just because you wanted to buy me lunch doesn't mean I have to take it or have to eat it. And they also bought breakfast like a few days later, or there's donuts in the lounge. And so there's always something. And then they're asking you 1,000 times, "Did you get your donut? You didn't get donuts? Why you don't want donuts? I'm gonna bring you one anyway. Just take it." And it's like, goodness. And sometimes I take a bite and I throw it away. Like, I'm good. I had the bite. You wanted me to eat it. And but I don't have to feel pressure just because
Yeah.
that's what you wanted. And then also to not always feel like when I'm thanking somebody, I have to give them food. Like, there's other things that people will appreciate
Mhm.
besides food.
Yeah, I mean, you shared a lot of great tips that you do. Like, and I think you're actually a little bit nicer than me, but taking a bite, enjoying it and saying thank you. I appreciate the thought, the gesture, which is, just showing them that it's that you appreciate it, and then figuring out how to enjoy it, whether it's just that small bite or just figuring out how to enjoy it on a different day. So I think that's a good strategy, great idea. I have like if I know I'm going to be in a social situation and I know that they're going to be specific people that are probably going to say something, I kind of plan ahead what like I kind of have like some phrases. So like I said before, practicing no thank you. I
Mhm.
do a lot of ignoring because sometimes in the moment I can't think of something to say. So I'm like, "Mhm." And I don't say anything or I walk away or those are little things that help me, but I try to practice a couple of phrases like no thank you or I'm good or I have my, this is what I'm gonna stick to, or I try to kindly educate, like, actually, this is a really good amount for me. It works really well for me. Or sometimes when it comes to desserts and there's like a couple that you want to try, I think they're called pedophores, which are
Mhm.
like little tiny desserts. So I'll kind of use that strategy, like, well, I have a little spoon of that, little spoon of that, little spoon of that. And it's still like overall you're having a variety, but it's within, it's kind of like you with the donut having a small bite, you're good. And there's even science that shows like the first couple bites are the best ones.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. And then after that, like you're like, why am I still eating this? It's not as
Exactly. Or like, I don't know if you've ever been to nothing bundt cakes, but those show up at my job a lot. And it's like a whole cake, but it's little. And I eat probably maybe, a few bites of it. And then I'm really satisfied. So if I just continue, and I've heard other people like, girl, I ate that whole cake and now they're miserable. And I don't want to be that because then I'm thinking about it all day. Then I'm treating myself like I did something wrong.
yeah,
And really, I didn't need all of that, or, bringing it and saving it and having some the next day versus eating all of it at once. And then I kind of got something sweet every day or, for a few days
right.
rather than, but I think the biggest thing for me is that I don't have to feel like I have to do that. Hold on, I have to open the door. Mario's outside.
Yeah. Just leave them outside. Um, yeah, I
Sorry.
like what you said with feeling guilty and it's just thinking about like how do you want to feel like this during this day? Do you want to feel, we talk about having the itis, like I can't stand the way it feels. I don't like to feel miserably full. I like
Right.
to feel satisfied. I like to still feel energized to like, sometimes when everyone's together, we'll play games or go outside, we'll do something active. So thinking about, okay, I want to feel this way. And
Hmm.
so those feelings are going to dictate my decisions.
And I
Um,
love to eat. So if I eat like way too much for one meal, then I don't want to eat as much for the next one. But then it's like, dang, I already knew what I wanted to eat and it was so good. So if I overdo it for one meal, then it kind of changes how I want to eat for the next. So it's better just to kind of do, plan it out and portion size so that I can get everything in that I wanted.
Yeah, even if you do, we always have an opportunity to make a different decision at that next meal. So it could be eating a little bit lighter, smaller portions, something like that. Um, so we kind of talked a little bit about social environment, and how to, you want to enjoy food, you want to indulge. We kind of touched on that a little bit. But another thing that comes up a lot with my clients is alcohol. And so I wanted to share a couple things that I like to do, which is try to find a lower calorie drink. And
Hmm.
I'm still breastfeeding, so that kind of keeps me accountable. But I like Skinny Girl, that's a lower calorie drink. There's another company, you don't find this one in stores, but it's called Scout and Cellar, which they mostly have like wines and maybe a couple like mixed cocktail, like margarita type things, but it's a healthier alcohol. They're lower in calorie. But other things that I do is I'll do like I've switched actually I don't drink as often. But because I'm already tired by the end of the night, alcohol is not going to help me at all. like a vodka spritzer or something like
Mhm.
that, adding some sort of carbonated water, and then drinking water in between.
Right.
Water, 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 and some more water. What about you?
Yeah, that's the same thing I do. I'm all about sparkling water.
Mm,
And when you get a flavored sparkling water and you mix it with whatever your choice is, then you don't feel so bad because it's always the sugar, the things that we're mixing in our drinks that make it not, I don't want to say healthy, but making it a little bit worse for us. So
mhm.
I like my favorite these days is a dragonberry rum, so good, and a sparkling water. My favorite one I think is watermelon with
Oh,
dragonberry.
that sounds good. Dragon. And then the other two tips, this actually helps me a lot with meals in general, is water first, veggies most, like that mantra. Water first, veggies most. So before I have most of my meals, I try to drink at least 16 ounces of water. What that does is it helps to take up some of the space in your stomach because it's filled up with a little bit of water, but you're not full, and it actually slows you down when you're eating because and it helps you to be more mindful because you're already kind of like your belly is kind of full, your stomach is kind of full. And so you're not compelled to like scarf it down. You're like, oh man, I'm kind of already full. And you just eat slower and more mindfully. And then the other thing is I focus on eating my veggies. So I focus on filling up my plate with mostly vegetables. And then the other stuff, if I have like ham, which is usually I'm a ham over turkey person. So I'll have like my ham and then like my other favorite is mama's dressing. So like I also focus on like my non-negotiables. Like I can go without macaroni. I can go without what's the other one she makes a lot? I forgot. It's like rice.
Rice dressing,
It's not called rice dressing.
dirty rice.
Dirty rice. I would still do the cornbread dressing over the dirty rice, but sometimes I still want the dirty rice, so I just do like a small portion of each.
Yeah, I like both, and I like to mix them together.
Oh, I've never done that before.
Mhm.
I may have to try that. I have to try it a little bit because if I don't like them, I'd be mad. But so I tried. That's how I plate, and that's how I make my decisions. Like if I really want the mac and cheese, like if it's like man, that looks like amazing, I'll try it. But I'm like, whatever. I really want the dressing with all the stuff, and then I really want ham. So I focus on my non-negotiables, and then I fill up with veggies. What do you do?
Sorry, my dog is,
Where's Sophie?
she is like trying to get into the trash can. Um, I, well, the weird thing about it for me is that I probably didn't really get into vegetables until I was an adult. So I'm still out there trying to figure out which vegetables I like, which is actually a lot more than I thought I would. So I do try to make sure that I have enough vegetables on my plate. And I'm all about starches too, but just limiting, like now that I know that focus on like serving sizes and you kind of memorize this is about like a fourth of a cup or whatever of rice,
Yeah.
then I just kind of stick to that. Then I know what I ate and it's always enough. So before, when I think back, like I had a whole plate of rice and a whole chicken breast or whatever I was eating, and that's really wasn't necessary, and I was probably super full when I
Yeah.
could have try to focus. Not that I always do serving sizes. Sometimes I'm like, well, I know, but at least I'm being mindful. Like I know this is about this much. And
Yeah.
so I can make an informed decision if I want more or less of that.
Yeah.
But so that's like my biggest thing is just kind of focusing on what I know. Like I still eat rice. I still eat, a lot of times I do brown rice or pastas, but I do weigh them out. I do
Mm,
eat what I know is about however many calories that I have budgeted for that meal. And so that just helps me to be more mindful. And I realize now, like I was probably eating way too much, and I don't feel like I'm not treating myself. I don't feel like I'm not eating enough. So that's just what I do, is definitely adding more vegetables, and
yeah.
then being mindful of the amounts of foods,
Yeah.
of the other things like the rice or mac and cheese or whatever, and just paying attention to how much I'm putting on my plate.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you have like a food scale, that's always helpful. It may not, if you're at like a family function.
Right? You don't want to pull out your scale. But now, because I've done it so much, I kind of know. So, like, even when I make a sandwich, I kind of know how many slices. But when before, I was probably like piling it up.
Yeah,
But I don't always use it, but for the most part, I kind of
yeah,
can gauge about.
but yeah, I mean, little like couple of you,
Mm,
maybe I do it this way. So a couple different quick visuals, like if you do like a spoonful of dressing, that's usually a pretty decent amount. And y'all know, like, don't be silly. Don't be like, I'm gonna try to scoop as much. That's a spoonful. Like, use your common sense. Or, as far as like me, I don't know why I'm having a hard time.
because you're looking at you think you're backwards, probably.
Anyway, so like, the width,
The
that
palm. Hmm.
yeah, the palm, and then the thickness. You can kind of see like the thickness. Like that's a pretty good, if you think of a hamburger patty or a fillet or a piece of chicken, the thickest part of your hand for you. Aaron's hand, I don't know what size it is, but my palm and like Shaquille O'Neal's palm, like Shaquille O'Neal's, but I don't know, he's huge.
Is giant.
But my palm is not gonna be enough for his frame.
Right.
So
I
that's
think
one.
another thing, I'm sorry, I just cut you off, is I don't know what everybody else's Thanksgivings are like, but we always had a whole lot of food left.
Yeah.
So maybe I eat a little bit, not a little bit, I really don't have to overdo it that first round. And I could always come back if I'm still hungry and eat more later. And kind of giving your brain that opportunity to realize, okay, I really am full right now. And I can always come back or make me another plate and come back later and eat some more
Right.
instead of trying to pile on my plate that first time. I think the other thing is that I will like when I know a big meal's coming up, you don't want to starve yourself because
Right.
then when you get ready to eat, then you're starving and
Yeah.
you have it's a better chance of you overeating. So just still
Right.
snacking throughout the day and paying attention to what you're eating throughout the day and not holding out on yourself just because this meal is coming up later and then you're stuffing your face because you're starving.
Right, definitely space it out. Eat normal, like eat your breakfast, eat your snack or whatever. We usually don't have dinner or lunch. I don't know. It's at 3 o'clock.
Like, yeah.
It's not even a normal. I don't know
I don't
where
know what that's about. It's a church time. That's when we ate after church.
it is. Like, yeah, it's gonna be like, normal time too. Like that is not a normal eating time.
No, it's not.
Well over 5 o'clock, but whatever. It's just what we do. Yeah, space it out. You don't have to eat it all at one time. And then what I think even mom made this shift is having most of the food in the kitchen and not like all on the table. Because
Right.
it was crowding at the table. So she switched that up. But it actually is a good strategy because it helps you rethink like, okay, so I am actually wanting some macaroni or I want seconds, but you have to get up and go get it.
Yeah.
So you have that time to give yourself the time to process it if you really want it. So we've touched on a lot of these things that a lot of different tips. Um, and I think this year, since a lot of us are home and we're kind of doing our own thing, it's a good opportunity to try different recipes. You definitely don't want to always be the one to bring like a dish to a big family gathering and they're like, what is that?
Yeah.
You want to test it out, kind of, see if it works for you. If you like it, then you can spring a little bit for people to try. But at least it gives you the opportunity to maybe adapt some of the common, traditional foods and try to find a healthier version, lower calorie version, lower fat version, stuff like that. And see how that works. And like Aaron said, keep it positive, keep it light, focus on what you are grateful for, what you have versus what you don't have, and try to be present and in the moment. Um, and I think that's it. Anything else?
No. Happy Thanksgiving or whatever it is that you celebrate during this time. Be grateful, be peaceful, and stay positive.
All right. Bye. Love you.
Love you.